Millions lost everything. Caroline Ellison walked free. How exactly did that happen? In this video, I will explain in simple terms what FTX was, who Caroline Ellison is, and why the legal process around her feels unfair to many people, but also why the law works differently. FTX was known as a crypto exchange where users kept their digital assets. In 2022, the exchange collapsed, and customers' money disappeared. This collapse turned into a major scandal when it was revealed that there were secret money flows between FTX and a related trading firm called Alameda Research. Caroline Ellison was the CEO of Alameda Research. In other words, she was at the head of the team managing the money at Alameda. According to court documents, Ellison admitted to certain fraudulent actions and accepted the charges at the end of 2022. This admission and cooperation later led her to work closely with prosecutors. Naturally, people are angry. They ask, millions were harmed, so why does someone on the inside get off so lightly? That feeling is completely understandable. But the legal system usually moves forward not based on emotions, but on information. So why do prosecutors make deals with insiders? Simply put, they need testimony and documents to uncover crimes. If a suspect helps solve a larger case, prosecutors may reduce that person's sentence in order to build a stronger case in court. Let's look at this step by step. First, Ellison's role. Alameda Research used FTX customers' funds for different purposes. Ellison was part of the management and took part in some decisions. Later, she admitted this behavior in court. Next, the crimes she accepted. In her agreement with prosecutors, Ellison accepted charges related to fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. This agreement shows that prosecutors could drop certain charges depending on her level of cooperation. So what does cooperation mean? Here's a simple example. In a theft case, police may want someone inside the group to confess in order to catch the entire gang. If that insider promises to help catch bigger criminals, police may consider a lighter punishment. In law, this is called substantial assistance. Prosecutors value people who provide testimony, documents, and emails that can be used in court. How does this reduce a sentence? Because the court does not rely only on words, but on concrete evidence and solid legal processes. If an insider's testimony and documents help convict a major suspect and support justice, prosecutors take that help into account when recommending a sentence. This system often clashes with the emotions of victims. Victims want heavy punishment, while the system prioritizes evidence. Think of a daily life example. Imagine there is a robbery in an apartment building. Police might tell a resident, if you help us catch the leader of the gang, your punishment could be reduced. If that person reveals who the leader is and where they are hiding, the leader is caught and a bigger crime is stopped. This approach is often chosen for public safety. But is it fair? Anger rises immediately, but the system chooses the outcome that protects more people. In Ellison's case, prosecutors said her evidence and courtroom testimony strengthened the case against SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried. They described her cooperation as extraordinary, and this was reflected in their sentencing recommendation. So what is a plea deal? In simple terms, it means an admission and cooperation agreement. The defendant accepts guilt. In return, the prosecutor may offer a lighter sentence or fewer charges. But this is not automatic forgiveness. The judge reviews the evidence and decides whether the cooperation was real and meaningful. Courts focus on proof, not emotions, because outcomes depend on documents and testimony. Why do courts value information over feelings? Because the goal of the legal system is to charge the right people in the right way and prevent the crime from happening again. Emotions lead to quick decisions, but without evidence, verdicts become dangerous. Insider evidence completes investigations. That is the court's duty. Is this fair? Could it be different? And is this situation unique to Caroline Ellison? No. In large financial cases, prosecutors often rely on insider testimony. This is common in mafia cases, white-collar crime, and major fraud cases. The system may treat small or mid-level collaborators more lightly to reach bigger targets. Why do public anger and legal outcomes often differ? Because the public usually empathizes with victims on the outside, while the legal system works with laws, evidence, and testimony. Prosecutors focus on uncovering the full scope of the crime and convicting the most responsible people. Insider information can be extremely valuable for this purpose. Now let's look at why the system works this way, from a financial perspective. Because the FTX case is not just a legal story, it is a massive money story. Billions of dollars disappeared. But outsiders cannot easily understand how this money vanished, because financial fraud is rarely obvious. Money does not leave from one single vault. It moves in pieces. It spreads across different accounts. It flows between companies. On paper, it is hidden behind innocent terms like loans, investments, or liquidity management. To an outsider, everything looks normal. This is exactly where an insider becomes extremely valuable. An insider knows why and how the money actually moved. This is where Caroline Ellison's value to prosecutors begins. She could explain not just what happened, but also why the money moved there, who gave the order, and whether it was done intentionally. Think of another example. A large company has a cash shortage. But there is no single cash register. There are dozens of bank accounts and hundreds of transactions. An external auditor could study it for months and still not fully understand it. But an insider who says, "We moved this money from here to there to cover that gap," instantly makes the picture clear. This is why prosecutors focused on Ellison. In financial crimes, the most expensive thing is time, and the most valuable thing is information. The goal is not only to punish someone, but to map the path of the money. Without that map, major suspects cannot be properly charged, and victims cannot recover their funds. This is where cooperation truly matters. Ellison's information allowed prosecutors to say, "This money did not disappear by accident. It was used systematically." That financial clarity is the backbone of the case. And this directly affects sentencing, because financial crimes are proven through calculations, not emotions. Who used which money, when, and for what purpose? If one link in that chain is missing, the case weakens. Ellison completed that chain. That is why prosecutors saw her cooperation as critical. This is not unique. The same approach is used in major bank cases, hedge fund scandals, and Ponzi schemes. Without insiders speaking up, large financial crimes cannot be fully exposed. The public usually asks, how many people were harmed? The system asks, can we trace the money? Because if you can trace the money, you can punish the main culprits and prevent the same system from being rebuilt again. That is why the system sometimes treats the person who can draw the financial map differently. This may sound harsh. The question, why does someone who caused harm get an advantage, is valid. But in fighting financial crime, the system must choose emotional satisfaction or structural solutions. Ellison's case is the result of that choice. She was not completely free. but the financial information she provided helped reveal the bigger picture. So let's end with the final question. If the goal is not revenge, but understanding how the money disappeared and preventing it from happening again, is valuing insider information wrong, or simply unavoidable? In this video, we examined Caroline Ellison's situation from both a legal and a financial perspective. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated and grow financially. Stay enlightened,